Right, we're live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the playoff game for 5th place position, and it is going to be the equivalent of a final, really. South Africa versus New Zealand should be a very exciting game, and it is only a little bit away from getting underway. But looking through at South Africa, first of all, Zane Davids, Christy Grola, JC Pretorius, Ronald Brown, Selvin Davids, Saviwe Soyazwapi, and then Shilton Van Voigt. So actually a very similar lineup to what they had for their last matchup here for South Africa, but they worked hard in their last game up against France and they dominated, which is why it was so strange to see them up against, who did they lose to in the end? South Africa. This is me. I can't quite actually remember. I'm going to have a quick look. Unfortunately, they did lose to Samoa, was actually their defeat. They did have, and also Fiji is going to get the gold again. Says no, don't mind me in the chat. Says Petty Wagon. I see that you learned how to use the alphabet, which is pretty impressive overall. But currently, Ireland and Canada still sitting there. 2 minutes left in their game, and then we will be straight into this matchup between South Africa and New Zealand. But South Africa defeated by Samoa was a game that they will want to forget. And now they've got a big opportunity to try and take down the Kiwi side, who do have in their starting lineup Kitiona Vai, Brady Rush, Trail Johas, Dylan Collier. It is going to be Nyauroni, McGarvey Black, Leroy Carter, and Caleb Tangi Tau, who has been looking very impressive in his recent games for New Zealand. Off the bench, couple super subs for both of these sides. Ryan Osterhuizen, Sean Williams also there for the Blitzboks, whereas New Zealand, they've got Tony Nshu and Regan Weir as another player that is actually going to be coming off the bench rather than starting this game. So both sides, I guess you'd argue they're just kind of rotating their stocks a little bit. They know that this game isn't make or break. You can have it, or you can kind of give it a little bit more of a casual approach. But then, of course, both sides want to win it because at the end of the day, it is a matchup up against another Southern Hemisphere giant. Like I mentioned, this game could be the final, South Africa versus New Zealand, and it probably will be a final in the near future, perhaps. But hopefully, it is going to be sooner rather than later. The next game after this one that we will be covering on the channel will be Samoa in their game taking on Australia in the bronze medal final. And then the final is only an hour away, and that matchup will be taking place between Fiji and Argentina. So that will be a very exciting, enthralling competition. See exactly who is able to get the win and whether or not Fiji can make it back-to-back. Now, New Zealand, they were in the final last week at Singapore Sevens. Didn't quite go right for them in their game of the semi-final up against Australia. In fact, that was the quarterfinal that New Zealand did end up losing that one. But then they had a very dominant win in their next playoff game up against England, which did cause them to be able to be in this position of being able to get one more game under their belt. But do let me know, Paddy, and also Novma, what is your score prediction for this game? Do you feel New Zealand can do it? And where is he in there as well? Says Cats are the best. Where is he? Where is he? Are we talking Batman? What's going on? Cats are the best. Do let me know. And also, we've got to go. New Zealand go. Says Reed there. But currently 10 seconds left in Ireland versus Canada. This will be the first game that we will get to see on the channel of our 3 in a row that we are doing. And it's going to be sad because that means we've only got 3 more games. We've only got about 25 minutes times 3 of live streams until we're done with the sevens for a couple of weeks. And then the next competition, it will actually be back in for the women's side of things. They will actually be playing in Toronto. No, not in Toronto, but they are in Canada. And then it's both sides. By the sounds of it, heading to Toulouse. And also New Zealand 35, South Africa 28. I hope it's a high-scoring one like that. I hope both sides do have their moments throughout the game that they can really try and prove themselves as the more dominant side. Because South Africa, they had that win streak. The only side with a longer win streak was the ex-All Blacks side. And don't forget Super Rugby this weekend. That is very true. Super Rugby round. It's going to be pretty awesome. Do you want Argentina to win the final? I would love to see them compete in the final. Like win, lose, or draw, as long as they show up and they fight like Argentina normally do, I'll be happy enough. Like as long as it's not Fiji with 90% of the ball and Argentina hardly get a touch, we'll be all good. Hey, mate, it's Ryan. 55 for New Zealand, 38 for South Africa there as well. So a very high score on one. And we will have to wait and see whether or not that will be the case. But New Zealand, this is certainly not as high up in the table as they would have liked to finish. Same with South Africa, which does mean maybe if Argentina win this, they might actually propel themselves above of South Africa in terms of the points, as they have been relatively close to South Africa throughout the chase they have been having. But Ireland, they did end up winning their game up against Canada, for anyone who is curious about that one, which does mean now we have got 1 minute, and then this game between New Zealand and South Africa will be underway. But do let me know also who you think will be the first try scorer of this one. But yeah, the Super Round just around the corner for Super Rugby should be a fantastic one, with the Chiefs playing the Waratahs as the very first match, followed by Moana Pacifica. They are going to be playing up against the Western Force, but they are showing their number 1 ranked South Africa up against number 15 ranked New Zealand. Bit of a change between the two sides, that is for sure. But one thing also is for sure, and it is that this should be a close game. Although both sides very similar in the way that they played in their last matchups to get into this game, because South Africa, they dominated France. New Zealand, they dominated England. And it's very hard to predict who's going to win this game. But at the moment, in the starting lineup, Soyas Wapi, he will be ready to go for this game. I believe for New Zealand, their captain might be Dylan Collier, I want to say. Yes, it is. And then by New Zealand, they are fired up, ready to go in another game. First try of the match, I'm going to say if it's New Zealand, it's scored by Caleb Tangitau. If it's scored by South Africa, I'm giving it to Selvin Davids. Just because I feel like he is probably due to get a try. He hasn't had a huge amount throughout this sevens. Geez, those flames are very much so. They're quite impressive flames that they do have right when the teams are making their way out to the ground. But South Africa will be kicking off this game. They will be going from left to right in this one. This is match 43 of 45 matches that are taking place. And Selvin Davids is ready to go and to get us underway for New Zealand versus South Africa. The final before the final. Nice little prelim that we are going to have before Australia versus Samoa. But Selvin Davids takes his time to kick that one off, and it looks like he's going more for the distance side of things. It's taken nicely of McGarvey Black. Straight in the breakdown. Almost Christy Grobbler. It looked like he was almost neck rolled there. But now New Zealand have got this one inside of their 22. Dylan Collier has got Tangitau on the outside. He gives it off to him. And now he's going to back his base. Soyas Wapi and Selvin Davids. They're not going to be able to catch him. And Caleb Tangitau does score the first try of the match for New Zealand. And it didn't take too long at all. Now, something I'll mention. You don't normally see Selvin Davids outspeeded. Is that even a sentence? He doesn't normally get outrun. But Caleb Tangitau just back in his pace, and Selvin Davids just wasn't quite able to catch him. He left Soyas Wapi way behind, and Kitiona Vai knows how awesome of a try that was for New Zealand to get themselves the early one and get them a lead up against South Africa. Nice strike. No, just the way to the left-hand side. Had the distance, just not the accuracy. And New Zealand now are sitting there at 5-0. Caleb Tangitau moves up to 6 tries in the season, or in the actually Singapore side of things. They just say he's a teenager. If Caleb Tangitau is a teenager, he has got a bright future ahead of him. I knew he was like young, but I thought he was early 20s rather than, I assume teenager, he'd be 19 or 18. He couldn't be any younger than that. Now Ronald Brown with a nice run forward did end up luring in some of the defenders. That's going to be a penalty there to New Zealand. Taking the quick tap there for Vi. The referee ducks underneath it. And now heading across the field, Leroy Carter, one more. That Dylan Collier. Looks like they're just trying to lure in the defenders. Selvin Davids is on the ground, which means if you're going to try and win a foot race, that is the perfect time to do so. Now, there's Kitiona Vai. Passes it back across Leroy Carter. It looks like they do want to give Tangitau possibly the ball. Flicks it back, Carter. Little bit loose. Collier flicks it up. Now Soyas Wapi takes a mistake from New Zealand, and it leads to the try now for South Africa. And they will take that one straight back. They've said, right, if you want to score down there, and we'll score down this end. Make the score just a little bit closer between us currently. Now, Soyas Wapi, that was some great skill on the ground, that is for sure. Didn't seem like he was at all in a hurry. It was just a little flick. Collier, New Zealand were in trouble there. They just couldn't quite get their hands on the ball. And then from there, Soyas Wapi does end up going in for the try. And now they have got the conversion to possibly take them into the lead in this game. Selvin Davids. Is it Selvin Davids who normally does the kicking? In fact, no, sorry, it's Ronald Brown who strikes it all right. He gets it very nicely, and now the score will be 7-5 in favour of South Africa. Currently 4 minutes left off this first half. And I believe it all came from that Leroy Carter offload to no one. So he will probably be trying to avoid the camera, but currently the camera is firmly on his face. So that won't quite work out for him. Selvin Davids signing he wants to kick it now to the short side, just going for the 10 metres. It sits up nicely for Soyas Wapi. And that is a tactic that South Africa have used quite a few times. Unfortunately, this time, though, it did go through the hands of Soyas Wapi. And now Dylan Collier driving forward, flicks it up. Now it's going to be the foot race once again. No, Tangitao decides instead. Big interception thrown ball. Now Hrubler goes up to Ronald Brown. There's a bit of panic at the moment for New Zealand throughout this game. Sullivan Davids now trying to go sideways. And you could argue that maybe that is because they have got Tony Unshu, Kurt Baker, Regan Ware, Dixon, all not starting actually in this game. So quite a few young players, such as you have got Huas, Rush, Vai, and Tangi Tau. And Caleb just turned 19. Okay, so he's still very young, Caleb Tangi Tau. And go New Zealand. So it says they're currently now 3 minutes left in this first half, and it looks like Ronald Brown will be kicking this one off his boot, back into his hands. He did take the quick tap rather than going for the touchline. Now 45 metres out. Nice, quick backline movement here for the Blitzboks. Now JC Pretorius missed tackle by 3 of the Kiwis, and now it creates the overlap on the outside. St. David's just needs to bulldoze his way forward. Tries to break through the tackle, Leroy Carter, but he was able to drag him down low. Now going to be available for Christy Grobler at fly half. Now going off to Ronald Brown, Selvin Davids. Good tackle on him. Tries to get back up. Dylan Collier has gone down, which does mean there's one less man. He's back up to his feet, though. Now, tell you what, Kitioni Vai just rips him apart there. Where that was now, Ronald Brown takes the quick tap. Sawyers Wapi on the short side, does get the ball, and he's going to score. Yes, he does get it down. No, maybe he doesn't. They're going to be checking this one upstairs. And I was like, go the Mighty Kiwis. The final is going to be insane in 1 hour, guys. Says Tesla, exactly right. Right, does Sawyers Wapi get this ball down? If he doesn't, this is a huge mistake for South Africa. I would like to think he knows where the dead ball line was. Yeah. Hang on. I think he put that down on his knee. I think he just sneaks that in, Sawyers Wapi, but initially drops it onto his knee, which kept the ball off the ground. Justin, lucky for Sawyers Wapi. That is a mistake that you do not want to make. Player has taken the ball dead, no try. Okay, so they have said that Sawyers Wapi has not been able to get that over the line, but a player of the experience and the caliber of Sawyers Wapi, you were not expecting. I actually thought he got that down inside just before, because we couldn't really see that far away foot. So it did seem like it was going to be all right. But currently now New Zealand looking for the 22 dropout by the looks like. Okay, let's play serious. Now it's worked out. Kitioni Vai now going down the wing. And they did get caught off guard by him. Kitioni Vai keeps that just in the field of play, going back across here for New Zealand. Looking for their backline movement now. Dylan Collier, one more out to Caleb Tangitau, who takes it nicely. Going to be backing himself around Selvin Davids, but he's dragged down by Sawyers Wapi instead. Who's now stuck under the breakdown. New Zealand have a little bit of an overlap on this left-hand side if they do decide to use it. It's going to be some good numbers here. Brady Rush, they've got the advantage here for New Zealand as well. Kitioni Vai runs it straight at St. David's, and they're going back for the initial penalty. 6 offside, so that would have been JC Pretorius getting himself penalised there. 1 minute and a half left in this first half, and it seems like it's going to be an incredibly close game between these two sides. So you have to wonder how much that try of Sawyers Wapi, or the no try in the end, could end up costing them. But unfortunately, just dropping the ball right on his knee, which then stopped it from being able to put the ball on the ground. But now Waikato pass out to Kitioni Vai, sells the dummy, goes round St. David's. Good footwork from the big man. And he does end up scoring the try for New Zealand. And now they do take the lead back. Kitioni Vai doing very nicely there. 3 tries in Vancouver. There's a couple All Blacks flags in the crowd. Of course, we will get to see the New Zealanders take on South Africa in South Africa for the Rugby Championship for the Union side of things in only a few months' time. Hi, Hamish, says Brandon. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. Kitioni Vai just scores the try for New Zealand. I think as soon as he got around St. David's, he knew that he was going to be scoring it. Boy, that ground looks hard to dive on. Wide kick. It has just gone away to the right-hand side. The boy says Paddy Wagon. So now the score will be 10 points to New Zealand and 7 to South Africa. Now 10 seconds left here. They are just showing Kitioni Vai. Garvey Black about to kick this one off. Right, he's made many mistakes off kickoff throughout this competition. That isn't going to be one of them. It goes straight into the hands of JC Pretorius, who rolls the ball backwards now. Ronald Brown off to Sawyers Wapi. Rush defense from Leroy Carter. His opposite number 7, Davis, finds a little pop pass up to Sawyers Wapi, who has been tackled, but now down the wing. Van Vick, nice pass on the inside, or in fact, it was a kick on the inside. That ball is loose, and Van Vick's going to get it. No one willing to jump on that one, and I think that was because they were hesitant, because if they made their way through, Kitione Vai almost stayed down for a little while there, but he has got back up, and he looks like he is going to be all right. I was just in my Discord, and as I said, Brandon, now it's a good run from St. Davis. Bump off of Leroy Carter, who's been through a war out there at the moment with the South Africans. Ronald Brown tries to go for the kick. Kitione Vai. Oh. Okay, Kitione Vai kicks it into touch. His teammates on his outside were not too happy with him, but at the end of the day, New Zealand, they still just keep themselves a lead in this matchup. The next game that has taken place, Samoa taking on Australia, and that will be a very exciting game. We are going to be covering that one from 12:25 onwards on the channel, and then after that, we have got the final of the Vancouver Sevens, and that one will be between Fiji and Argentina. But both of these sides, I would like to think that at least one of them will be there for the final of the next competition, if not at least the semi-finals perhaps. But both sides actually missing out on the semi-finals. I'm not sure what the stats are in terms of the last time that South Africa and New Zealand, while both playing, have missed out on semi-finals, but I assume it would have been quite a while. The moment we do see Australia warming up, their game is going to be in 16 minutes' time, and that will be up against the Samoans. I'm a little bit worried for Samoa, I'll be honest, because they are missing out on being able to use Matavao, and their squad is slowly getting smaller and smaller, actually only having the 4 reserves, whereas Australia have got the 5 for this matchup, although I don't think they're going to be using Ben Ma because of those changes. But Steve on his side, I am also confused at why they're not starting him. And maybe another injury might be one of those reasonings behind it. But broken tackles at the moment. New Zealand, they have missed 4 tackles. South Africa, they have missed 3. And the tackles about 15 between the two sides. But currently, whoever has the better of the first 2 minutes of the second half, I would argue, takes all momentum heading into the last stages. And then when it gets to the last kind of 1 or 2 minutes, that will be when this game is shaped. And we will get to see exactly who gets themselves a win. But currently, September 9th to September 11th, the Rugby World Cup is going to be taking place in Cape Town. And that will be the Rugby World Sevens World Cup. Or the Rugby World Cup Sevens, I think it is called, for that one. Okay, they've said that there's going to be like 50,000 in attendance each day. That is going to be absolutely insane to have for the Sevens side of things. And I'm looking forward to seeing who can get themselves the win. I haven't actually watched a Sevens World Cup either, so that will be pretty awesome to see it as my first one. I think the last one took place, I think New Zealand actually won the last World Cup, if I'm not wrong, for the Sevens. But Tangitao at the moment, he has had a very good first half. Then for South Africa, you'd have to argue probably, I'll go Ronald Brown or Selvin Davids as the best player for South Africa in that first half. But McGarvey Blake about to kick this one off for New Zealand. Goes for the low skiddy one, but it's taken nicely by Selvin Davids, who does drop to the knee to be able to take that catch. Leroy Carter with a great tackle. And I believe Sam Dixon might not be too far away from making his way out on the field. Caleb Tangitau being able to make the tackle. They're going for the counter ruck here in New Zealand as well. Brilliantly done, though, by it was the big number 1, James Murphy, who got himself a try and also got his butt on the TV, unfortunately for him, because his pants was pulled down while he was going for it. Now straight on the ball for Tony Unshu, and he does end up winning the penalty. Sorry, Kitione Vai does now take the quick tap, going away to the right-hand side, 4 on this near side, instead actually popping it back up to the top. Wait a minute, if they have 4 on this near side and 3 on the top side, does that mean they've got 8 on the field, New Zealand? Surely not. No, I just miscounted, never mind. And now Kitione Vai makes his way out there. I was going to say, surely the referee would notice if they had 8 on rather than the 7, but currently now in the midfield, Leroy Carter off to Maccabi Black. Some good silky skills. Oh, Leroy Carter puts it down, and that was a certain try if he was able to hang on to it, but he's disappointed there. Leroy Carter can't quite believe his luck, but that ball just went straight through his hands, unfortunately. There was no real pressure being put on him. Just puts it down. Like they're saying, he was looking at the try line, knowing he was about to put it down, but did not quite go. So really, you'd have to say, blown opportunity for New Zealand, blown opportunity for South Africa when it comes to the try. So we're back to even. And if I'm Argentina And there, as I says Jose, and yeah, it's going to be an awesome game. We are going to be doing the live commentary for that game also, and that is going to be kicking off in only 45 minutes time till we get to see the final take place, and it should be a very exciting one. Australia versus Samoa, that is coming closer and closer as we do close in on the end of this game. It's a scrum. Everyone very low for that one, and they are going to have a scrum reset, using up a little bit more time. No timers off now. The referee has said. Okay. At the moment, Kitio Navai looking straight at, I believe it is Impi Visa now on that side, but trying to play on AstroTurf, it's a completely different feeling for scrum. You feel like you've got a world of grip. That's going to be penalty to New Zealand at scrum time. McGarvey Black takes it quickly now, running straight through Garovala, and he goes for the corner. McGarvey Black, he scores it, and New Zealand do end up getting the try. Good work, good experience from McGarvey Black to know that they had the 3 men in the scrum. It was an awkward scrum. Everyone fell over, which meant you were defending 4-on-4. McGarvey Black broke through the tackle of Garovala, who did actually break away from that scrum, but sadly for him, just didn't quite have the ability of being able to spin straight away, because that was the thing. He was wrong-footed from the get-go. He thought McGarvey Black was going to the right. McGarvey Black went left, and he went over the try line to score the try for New Zealand. He's missed that kick, though. He has gone to the right, ironically, there for that one. But now sitting 4.5 minutes left, and New Zealand get themselves an 8-point lead, which can be huge in these sevens matchups. But 4.5 minutes is still plenty of time to score not just one try, not just two. Really, South Africa still have the potential of being able to score 3 from here if they do end up getting it right. Come on, New Zealand. And there says Brandon, it's going to be kicked off nicely. Selvin Davids takes it, and now Dylan Collier making the tackle on him. Passing it back across James Murphy, now off to Van Veek. Going off to Ronald Brown. He is a try scorer machine. He's been hit hard by Leroy Carter, but they've said that it was a no-arms tackle from him. Oh, no, leaving his feet. And then there's actually the penalty that they do end up giving it for South Africa, but it was a big shot on Ronald Brown while he was running sideways, and that is something we're going to see quite a bit of in the Fiji game. A lot of hard shots. It's a brilliant kick there from Selvin Davids. And the last 6 penalties is actually an even split with 3-3. Leroy Carty did a big shot, and then unfortunately did end up trying to play the man on the ground, which does get you in a bit of trouble in the world of sevens. I think the only sport that you're allowed to play the man on the ground in terms of rugby-wise is actually rugby league, but I could be wrong there. That is why Roger Tuivasa-Sheck for the Blues has given away a few penalties on the ground. He pretty much just dives on someone and drops the shoulder into them. But now looking for the line-out throw. Ronald Brown does find his target in Visa. St. Davids goes off to Brown. Sitting on the halfway line currently here for the Blitzboks, trying to get themselves back into the game. Selvin Davids with the quick feet, and he is always dangerous. McGarvey Black trying to wrestle him down. He's picked him up, and he's going to be holding him. He just throws him backwards. It's a penalty, though, to South Africa. Lifting and carrying is the penalty that was against McGarvey Black, but I think he was just trying to show off the impressive strength that he has by just grabbing Selvin Davids and taking him all the way back past the 22. Nice step from James Murphy. Sitting only 10 metres out. Leroy Carter. Oh, he was dragged over the top there. Selvin Davids round the sides. Kitione Vai able to make the tackle there, but the Blitzboks, they are getting extremely close. Van Veek, wide ball out to JC Pretorius, and he does end up scoring the try for the Blitzboks. Good for you, Hamish. What is your New Zealand rugby? And now as I said, Brandon, what is my New Zealand rugby? My New Zealand rugby side, maybe? Do let me know. But JC Pretorius scores at 15 minutes. That says, but it's actually 12 minutes through. McGarvey Black, he just held him, and he was just carrying him backwards. Also, awesome, mate. Thanks for doing what you do, says Richard Marshall. No worries at all, mate. And I do love every second of these live streams, not just for the sevens, but also for you guys in the chat who do just tune in, day out, day or night, rain or shine. You guys are here. And it looks like Kitione Vai actually going off the field now. Maybe some sort of injury. He did take a bit of a head knock earlier on, so maybe that's just starting to catch up with him. Goes away to the left for Ronald Brown, and that will make the score 15 points to New Zealand and 12 to South Africa. So they need a converted try. That's a lie. They just need a try here in the last minute and a half. And Selvin Davids is about to be kicking off. I see Rocco Lisoa out on the field alongside him. I think they've also made a couple other changes. Maybe Regan Weir wouldn't be a bad option. How much time left currently? It is only sitting at 1 minute 20 left in this game. Let's go, New Zealand. And they're from EYZ. That's going to be nicely taken. And now South Africa, they have got this ball back. Backline movement starting to open up. Ronald Brown off to Zane Davids. Now, in fact, it's going to be Murphy down the wing. Scores a try for South Africa. He's fired up. Does the fist bump, and South Africa going to be taking the lead. 90 seconds says Novmum. And now New Zealand. It was once again that lethal short kickoff from South Africa that they just always managed to get it just the 10. And beautiful. 11 meters that one went, and it only needs to go 10. It was taken nicely by Impi Visa. And then New Zealand, they weren't able to stop the big man, James Murphy, down the wing. Tangital tried, but Tangital did fail, and Murphy's a fired-up individual there. I see that Regan Weir here has made his way out onto the field, and come on, New Zealand. Here's OBE. I think that kick, lining it up, Ronald Brown. He hits the post and it comes back out. So that would have made it just a little bit more of a lead. But New Zealand now, they only need 2 points to be able to get back to drawn. So the only way to have a draw is not have a draw in this game. It's going to be a win or a loss for these two sides. 10 seconds left. Selvin Davids taking his time. Can't take too long, though. I was going to say, if he takes too long, he's probably going to get himself penalised, which would be New Zealand's ball. But now currently Regan, we are all. So arguably he was close to tipped above the horizontal there as well. But now New Zealand deep in their own 22. Have to go for the back line. Collier unable to do so. Nice little flick pass up. Now Caleb Tangital, or in fact it was Leroy Cutter. His legs just didn't seem like they were working too well. New Zealand, Rocket Lesoia has dropped the ball. Now South Africa, it looks like they want to kick this one out. It's a little knock on from them. And South Africa win the match 17 points to 5. They slam the ball down out of frustration. South Africa and also, come on, boys. And there's his Easy Y, or EYZ, I should say there. But South Africa able to get themselves to win 17 points to 15. Close game between these two sides. South Africa, their last-minute try of James Murphy. It was the difference maker in this matchup. And New Zealand, they'll be slightly disappointed with that. But one thing's for sure from this tournament, we've seen a lot of new young talent coming up through the rankings for the Kiwis, who will be ready to go for the next competition. Good game as well, says EYZ in there as well. But the next two games that are coming up, and it's going to be Samoa and Australia, and Fiji and Argentina. Those two games are going to be pretty awesome to see. But the first game is Samoa versus Australia. We will be covering that one on the channel also, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Currently, Argentina and Australia both sitting on 83 points for the men's standing. South Africa getting 5th. That will give them a few points on there, and they'll be able to crack into the 100, which will be very impressive indeed. New Zealand sitting there on 15th. They'll still get some form of points here in this game, so they might move themselves up to about maybe 35. You might go just a little bit above the Scottish and the Welsh, depending on how they go, because New Zealand, they will get 12 points, and South Africa manages to get themselves 13. That took me way too long to find it. But I think I was kind of mesmerized by the fact that 7th place and 8th place both get the same points, and that is both 10. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like. As a guy in South Africa, we're lucky to get away with that knock on a ruck in the last try. Here's Nazza. So I didn't see it at the time, but I might have to have a look back, see what I can find. So I assume that is the try of James Murphy right at the end that they were checking. Well, I think they must have green lighted it. They said it was all good. But yeah, I guess I have a look at it later on as well. But at the end of the day, South Africa, they were able to get themselves a 2-point lead. Very nicely done in this one. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you all for